Chapter 6, Project Time Management. Learning Objectives Part 1. Una, understand the importance of project schedules and good project time management. Second, discuss the process of planning schedule management. Third, define activities as the basis for developing project schedules. Fourth, describe how project managers use network diagrams and dependencies to assist in activity sequencing. Sunod, understand the relationship between estimating resources and project schedules. And last, my learning objectives part 1 is explain how various tools and techniques help project managers perform activity duration estimates. Learning objectives part 2. First, use a Gantt chart for planning and tracking scheduled information. Find the critical path for a project and describe how critical chain scheduling and the program evaluation and review technique or PERT affect schedule development. Sunod, understand how time management is addressed using Agile. Bantulo, discuss how reality checks and discipline are involved in controlling and managing changes to the project schedule. And last, describe how project management software can assist in project time management and review words of caution before using the software. Importance of project schedules. Managers often cite delivering projects on time as one of their biggest challenges. Time has least amount of flexibility. It passes no matter what happens on project. And schedule issues are the main reason for conflicts on projects, especially during the second half of projects. So nakabutang dida na an usa ko na mga biggest challenges iya ka manager is yara managers is ang pag-deliver ng project on time. Kasi syempre di ba ang project may damit iya bagan nakalaan na time kung paano ito ang saan ito ipapasa o kung saan ito i-deliver na project. Tapos time has less amount of flexibility. O di ba ang time kasi di momento niya pwede i-adjust ganito iya malipas good talaga ang panahon bisan ano pa rin matapos man ang project or dire time will pass. Tapos so schedule issues are the main reason for conflicts on project. Siguro yun nga schedule issues are the main reason for conflicts on project kay ano ba individual work styles and cultural differences cause schedule conflicts. One dimension of the Myers-Briggs type indicator focuses on people's attitudes toward structure and deadline. Some people prefer to follow schedules and meet deadlines while others do not. G versus P. Different cultures and even entire countries have different attitude about schedules. So, ibig sabihin nito, may mga tao ko na mas karoyag nira na an schedule is follow nira nga kung sano maghimo like that. Tapos maniba naman lat ko dire na sort ng schedule. Tapos kuan different cultures and even entire countries have different attitude about the schedules. O diba? Kada bansa ko no, may da kuan, iba-iba na kuan, pagtingin about kuan schedule kun basta may dira kanya-kanya kuan kun para nira ihimoon ang trabaho ha schedule. Media snapshot. In contrast to the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympic Games, see Chapter 4's Media Snapshot. Planning and scheduling was very different for the 2004 Athens Summer Olympic Games and the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympic Games. Many articles were written before the opening ceremonies in Athens predicting that the facilities would not be ready in time. The Greeks even made fun of critics by having construction workers pretend to still be working as the ceremonies began. But the games cost more than twice the planned budget. The 2014 Winter Olympic Games in Sochi, Russia, suffered even greater financial loss and were the most expensive games in history. Project time management processes. Una, planning schedule management. Determining the policies, procedures, and documentation that will be used for planning, executing, and controlling the project schedule. Number 2, defining activities. Identifying the specific activities that the project team members and stakeholders must perform to produce the project deliverables. Pantulo, sequencing activities, identifying and documenting the relationships between project activities. Estimating activity resources. Estimating how many resources a project team should use to perform project activities. Sunod, estimating activity durations. Estimating the number of work periods that are needed to complete individual activities. Sunod, developing the schedule. Analyzing activity sequences, activity resource estimates, and activity duration estimates to create the project schedule. Tapos panlast is the schedule, controlling and managing changes of the project schedule. Tapos adiban ha may figure 6 project time management summary. So asya ni niya an kanina nga ni an basa ko pala an yan na naigbawinin as an planning on an process is plan schedule management. Tapos ang output niya is schedule management plan. Asya na to kanina. Tapos ang define activities, asya to daan ang maging output is an activity list, activity attributes, milestone list, project management plan updates. Tapos ang sequence activities naman, ang magiging output is project schedule, network diagrams, project documents, updates. Tapos ang sunod na process is an estimate activity resources. So bali magiging output niya is a demand. Activity resource requirements, resource breakdown structure, and project document updates. So ang sunod na process is an estimate the activity durations. So an output is activity duration estimates, project documents updates, and sunod na process is an develop schedule. So ang output is schedule baseline, project schedule data, project calendars, project management plan updates, project documents updates. Thus ang hamay number last and panlast is monitoring and controlling. Thus Asya to ya aniya process asya ton process niya. So making output iton is an work performance information, schedule forecasts, change request, project management plan updates, project documents updates, task organizational process assets updates. Asya nito na niya an summary and project time management. Planning schedule management. The project team uses expert judgment, analytical techniques, and meetings to develop the schedule management plan. A schedule management plan includes number 1, project schedule model development. Pandua, the scheduling methodology. Pantulo is the level of accuracy and units of measure. Tapos panupat is control thresholds. Sunod, rules of performance measurement. And next is reporting formats. And panlast is process descriptions. Defining activities. An activity or task is an element of work normally found on the work breakdown structure or WBS that has an expected duration, cost, and resource requirements. Activity definition involves developing a more detailed work breakdown structure and supporting explanations to understand the work to be done so you can develop realistic cost and duration estimates. So upodhan ko pag define an activities is or an task is adan ka dapat nga more detailed para nga more detailing nga may da kuan explanation para maintindihan mo kung anon kailangan mo himuon. Tapos ano ba taran kailangan mo himuon para maka-develop ken realistic cost and duration estimates. Activity lists and attributes. An activity list is a tabulation of activities to be included on a project schedule that includes the activity name, an activity identifier or number, tapos a brief description of the activity. As an activity attributes provides more information such as predecessors, successors, logical relationships, leads and lags, resource requirements, constraints, imposed dates, and assumptions related to the activity. Ito namang activity attributes is they are like extra details about each task on your checklist. They provide more information about how tasks relate to each other. Predecessors and successors, any logical connection between tasks, timing constraints, leads and lags, what resources are needed, any specific dates and tasks must be completed by, and any assumptions made about the task. And this part is essential activity attribute that give you a deeper understanding of how each task fits into the overall project plan and what's needed to complete it successfully. Milestones. A milestone is a significant event that normally has no duration. So ibig sabihin, bagan maray ito ya kuan time konsano, so dito warahiya oringan niya duration basta duration. As it often takes several activities and a lot of work to complete a milestone. So sumingit nga kailangan it often takes several activities. So, ibig sabihin damo ani nga mga activities an kailangan himuon para ma-complete man milestone. So ibig sabihin kasi to na milestone bagan kuan ba ya bagan may dako na progress nga nahimon iyo kuan project. Tapos asya niton. Tapos they are useful Tools for setting schedule goals and monitoring progress. Siya na nga nito. Tapos examples include obtaining customer sign-off on key documents or completion of specific products. What went wrong? At the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation or FBI, poor time management was one of the reasons behind the failure of Trilogy, a disastrous, unbelievably expensive piece of vaporware, which was more than 4 years in the making. The system was supposed to enable FBI agents to integrate intelligence from isolated information silos within the Bureau. In May 2006, the Government Accounting Agency said that the Trilogy project failed at its core mission of improving the FBI's investigative abilities and was plagued with missed milestones and escalating costs. Sentinel replaced Trilogy in 2007. During a test exercise in 2011, Sentinel experienced two outages, and the FBI determined that the current hardware structure was inadequate. In 2014, the system still wasn't working well. Sequencing activities involves reviewing activities and determining dependencies. A dependency or relationship is the sequencing of project activities or tasks. Pantulo, you must determine dependencies in order to use critical path analysis. So, ano ibig sabihin na sequencing activities is koan nga process niyan koan, this is the process of identifying and scheduling the individual activities that make up a project. Sequencing activities logically ensures that all the necessary steps happen correctly and helps you optimize resources efficiently. So, ibig sabihin niya. Three types of dependencies. Una, mandatory dependencies. Inherent in the nature of work being performed on a project, sometimes referred to as hard logic. Ibig sabihin ito na mandatory dependency, kasi ito yan, itong kailangan ko talaga mahimo ito na within a particular time. Kay kuan, may kuan kasi ito, it is usually the requirement of some kind based on contract, laws, company, procedures, and physical limitations. So ito nga, bakan kailangan ko talaga mahimo dayon na ma-perform in a particular time. Network diagrams. Network diagrams are the preferred technique for showing activity sequencing. And a network diagram is a schematic display of the logical relationships among or sequencing of project activities. The two main formats of arrow and are the arrow and precedence diagramming methods. So, any na network diagram, kanito ya. It is a graphical representation of a project and is composed of series of connected arrows and boxes to describe the interrelationship between the activities involved in the project. Boxes or nodes represent the activity description and arrows show the relationship among the activities. Siya ito network diagram. Tapos ang mopilat ini na network diagram liwat is ginaalaw ni an project manager to track each element of a project and quickly share its status with others. Figure 6-2 network diagram for Project X. So in this figure 6-2 shows a sample network diagram for Project X. Note that the main elements on this network diagram, the letters A through G, represent activities with dependencies that are required to complete the project. These activities comes from the WBS and activity definition process described earlier. The arrows represent the activity sequencing or relationship between tasks. For example, activity A must be done before activity D, and activity D must be done before activity H. So, asyadton. Arrow diagramming method or ADM, also called activity on arrow or AOA network diagrams. Activities are represented by arrows. Nodes and circles are the starting and ending points of activities and can only show finish to start dependencies. Ito man ibig sabihin nito para sa nga figure 6 to 2 network diagram for Project X. Ito na mga circles sa tuyaan mga nodes. Tapos ito niyan nagre-represent ito starting and ending points and activities. Ito naman na arrow as ito yan activities na ginihimo. Sala. Process for creating AOA diagrams. Number 1, find all of the activities that start at node 1. Draw their finished nodes and draw arrows between node 1 and those finished nodes. Put the activity letter or name and duration estimate on the associated arrow. Number 2, continuing drawing the network diagram, working from left to right. Look for bursts and merges. Bursts occur when a single node is followed by two or more activities. A merge occurs when two or more nodes precede a single node. Number 3, continue drawing the project network diagram until all activities are included on the diagram that have dependencies. And number 4, as a rule of thumb, all arrowheads should face forward the right, and no arrows should cross on an AOA network diagram. Precedence diagramming method or PDM. Activities are represented by boxes. Arrows show relationships between activities, more popular than ADM method, and used by project management software. Better at showing different types of dependencies. Figure 6-3, task dependency types. Task dependencies. The nature of the relationship between two linked tasks. You link tasks by defining a dependency between their finish and start dates. For example, the contact caterers task must finish before the start of the determined menus task. There are 4 kinds of task dependencies in Microsoft Project. So, di man ang mga task dependency, finish to start to start, finish to finish, ngan start to finish. Example, ano naman, A, tapos may arrow di kada B, tapos A di kada B, ito ba nun na ma-arrow naman na may example na nakikita man din na figure 6-3. Tapos ang description niya is, ito man, task B cannot start until task A finishes. Tapos task B cannot start until task A starts. Tapos task B cannot finish until task A finishes. And task B cannot finish until task A starts. So, ayun.
Silimanan, figure 6 to 4, sample PDM network diagram. So ito kuan. In PDM diagram, tasks are represented as boxes or nodes. Ito rin ng mga box na nakikita ni Yoshi Tridan nagre-representan specific na task na hihimuon. Tapos an arrow siya dan sequence in which task must be completed. Basta itong pagkasunod-sunod dito ng mga arrow. Estimating activity resources. Before estimating activity durations, you must have a good idea of the quantity and the type of resources that will be assigned to each activity. Resources are people, equipment, and materials. And consider important issues in estimating resources. Number 1. Una, how difficult will it be to do specific activities on this project? Sunod, what is the organization's history in doing similar activities? And pantulo, are the required resources available? A resource breakdown structure is a hierarchical structure that identifies the project's resource by category and type. So, in simple terms, estimating activity resources is like figuring out who and what you'll need to get the job done. This involves considering factors like how many people are required, what equipment or tools are necessary, what materials are needed, and where the work will take place. And by estimating activity resources accurately, you can ensure that you have everything in place to complete the task on time within budget. It's an important step in project planning to avoid delays and resource shortage during project execution. Planning schedule management. The project team uses expert judgment, analytical techniques, and meetings to develop the schedule management plan. A schedule management plan includes number 1, project schedule model development. Pandua, the scheduling methodology. Pantulo is the level of accuracy and units of measure. Tapos panupat is control thresholds. Sunod, rules of performance measurement. And next is reporting formats. And panlast is process descriptions. Activity duration estimating. Duration includes the actual amount of time work on activity plus elapsed time. So ibig sabihin, ang total na amount ng oras nga kailangan para matapos ito na task or activity plus elapsed time. Ibig sabihin elapsed time is ang total amount ng time tika ang project kadahan katapos. Ito ibig sabihin ng elapsed time. Tapos nakabutang sunod, effort. Effort is the number of work hours required to complete a task. So, ibig sabihin nito, an effort, it refers to the amount of work required to complete a specific task or activity. It represents the total number of labor hours or units of work that will be expended to accomplish the task. Tapos, effort does not normally equal duration. And people doing the work should help create estimates and experts should review them. 3-point estimates. Instead of providing activity estimates as a discrete number, such as 4 weeks, it's often helpful to create a 3-point estimate. An estimate that includes an optimistic, most likely, and pessimistic estimates, such as 3 weeks for the optimistic, 4 weeks for the most likely, and 5 weeks for the pessimistic estimate. So, any na true na estimates is ito an optimistic estimate is this is your most hopeful estimate, assuming everything goes perfectly without any hiccups or delays. Sa panduwa na estimate is most likely estimate, and this is your best estimate based on what you think will actually happen under normal conditions. As an panturno is an pessimistic estimate. This is your gloomiest estimate, assuming everything goes wrong and there are a lot of delays or problems. Asya, by having these three different estimates, you can get a better sense of the range or the possibilities and account for uncertainty. Developing the schedule uses results of other time management processes to determine the start and end date of the project. Top and ultimate goal is to create a realistic project schedule that provides a basis for monitoring project progress for the time dimension of the project. And it is important tools and techniques include Gantt charts, critical path analysis, and critical chain scheduling and PERT analysis. So, before ka you need to use the other time management processes before you develop the schedule, and you need to gather information from other time management processes such as defining activities, sequencing activities, and estimating the activity durations. And these processes provide inputs like the list of tasks, their sequence, and how long each task will take. This information is essential for determining the start and end dates of the project. And the main goal of developing the schedule is to create a realistic timeline for the project. And this schedule outlines will when each task will be performed and how long it will take. And it will serve as a roadmap for the project team to follow and provides a basis for monitoring progress over time. Gantt charts. Gantt charts provide a standard format for displaying project schedule information by listing project activities and their corresponding start and finish dates in a calendar format. And the symbols include a black diamond, ibig sabihin niya is a milestones. And thick black bars is an summary and tasks. Tas an lighter horizontal bars is the duration of tasks. Tas an arrow naman is the dependencies between tasks. So, di man makikita man din hamay figure 6 to 5 and Gantt chart for project X. Tuman. In figure 6 to 5, it shows a simple Gantt chart for Project X created with Microsoft Project. In figure 6 to 6, the black diamond represents a milestone. In figure 6 to 6, task 6, scope complete, is a milestone that occurs on January 17 for every large project. Top managers might want to see only milestone on Gantt chart.
Microsoft Project allows you to filter information displayed on a Gantt chart so you can easily show specific tasks such as milestones. The thick black bars with rectangles at the beginning and end represent summary tasks. For example, the activities listed in rows 2 to 5 are all subtasks of the summary task called scope, task 1. WBS activities are referred to as tasks and subtasks in most project management software. The light blue horizontal bars for task 2, 3, 4, and 5 represent the duration of individual tasks. Task nga yan. And the arrow connecting these symbols show relationships or dependencies between tasks. Gantt charts often do not show dependencies, which is their major disadvantage. If dependencies have been established in Microsoft Project, they are automatically displayed on the Gantt chart.